Sup peeps? In today's video, we are going to be talking about jet boots and where they sit today in the current state of the game. Let us get straight into it, shall we? Bouncer's main class technique weapon known as jet boots utilizes a wide variety of PAs and techniques, which allows it to exceed in many situations. They work in a very similar way to Tector's wand, possessing the ability to imbue elemental attacks within the weapon itself and applying that additional damage when you use PAs. The weapon's main identity is heavily based around utilizing elemental attacks with a fast mobility weapon. However, this weapon will still deal physical damage. This pairs nicely with Bouncer's class skill Elemental Decline, which enhances the accumulation of elemental downs. Building up this gauge helps to create further opportunities to strengthen your attacks and rotations, allowing you to utilize all the tools available to you. Preventing enemies from fighting back for a set amount of time allows this weapon to perform exceptionally well with the tools available. On its own, the weapon doesn't feel like it accumulates its elemental down gauge nearly as fast as some of the other technique weapons, which is why I believe that this weapon is better for assisting other technique weapons when building elemental downs. This is proven to be very effective against bosses. Being paired with a fellow force member will allow you to benefit from each other's class advantages, decimating enemies with accumulating elemental downs faster. I personally think this is a great example of excellent team chemistry gameplay. Jet boost generally feels pretty smooth when implementing techniques into the mix, or when applying elements to your PAs. When charging techniques, your mobility will be restricted to a forward glide, which can be a little hard to adjust to, but it can also be alleviated with a backwards directional input. The class skill known as Thrust Drive will allow you to traverse at high speed towards a target within lock-on range. As we are on the topic of mobility, jet boots are also very popular for field races, due to having the best mobility in the game. The PA known as Spinning Gus has slightly faster movement speed than the Photon Das at the cost of expending PP, which is why subclass Enforce can be the best play for speed runs because of the amazing PP recovery that the class provides. Jet Sweep Jolt Rapid Boost, boosting your attack speed for 30 seconds, is really what elevates the power of jet boots through mobility and damage. The addition of this skill had really impressed me when it released, as it felt like it made this weapon feel a little more complete. Jet Sweep Jolt's short cooldown massively increases the uptime for Jet Sweep Jolt, simply for an aggressive, in-the-fray style gameplay. Reducing the cooldown up to 15 seconds per successful weapon dodges is no joke, especially if you're in a scenario where you can generate Jet Sweep Jolt back in just a few combos. Jet Sweep Jolt PP save helps these combos out too by reducing your PP consumption by 10%. Very effective. The most recent skill known as Boot Art Skip Beat is definitely the golden skill for jet boots. It drastically improves how jet boots feel in combat by incentivizing you to link different PAs together. You are rewarded with a very potent normal attack, which acts like the third normal attack. You can then use a fourth normal attack right after, which leads into a very nice rotational flow of attacks. These skills are amazing at helping you in gameplay. However, you can't just put on any old boots out there, you're gonna need some style. These are some of my favourites to use. Weapon Stealthing, Brilliant Autumn Leaves, Yuomine Psychic Blow, Lightning Izane Kozuchi, Labelemel, Richter Obs. Jet boots always felt like they were missing two aspects, preventing it from being top dog for the tech weapons. The first part we mentioned earlier with how jet boots accumulates its elemental downs as a standalone weapon. Slight improvements in this area would be really great for solo play. The value adjustments I'd like to see for elemental decline would be something of the following. I feel that these numbers should improve the accumulation rate of jet boots PA's down factor, without it becoming too potent on its own. That wouldn't be bad or anything, but you know, for balance purposes. This slight change to elemental decline allows jet boots to perform its role of applying elemental damage through its PAs for elemental down accumulation. Boosting up the lower tiers provides you the choice to distribute skill points into other skills that you feel would be more useful to you. The other changes I would like to see would be slightly more potency for the jet boots PAs. The damage output is actually surprisingly good from all the recent buffs, but I still think it could benefit from a little more of an increase to rival above its peers. Other PA adjustments I would like to see would be for first wave. This PA has good utility for jet boots because of the way you are encouraged to mix different PAs into the rotations. An increased duration and attack rate adjustment for this lingering attack would be really great for applying even more elemental damage, making up for the lack of tracking for this attack. Overall, where jet boots sit right now as a weapon is that they are feeling really good in terms of flow and weapon identity. I definitely recommend it. I'm excited to see where this weapon sits with future updates. With a slight boost, I'd wait as these might become the new hotness on the block. Let's give jet boots a solid 8 out of 10. Alrighty, that's it for now. Let me know how you feel about jet boots. I'd love to hear it. If you enjoyed or found this video useful, click that like and subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and as always, take it easy peeps.